stories on Focus Black Oklahoma. She's participated in our Grand Slam events as a monthly winner. Gymnastics are always appreciated in and out of the bedroom. Welcome, Sandra.
Keep debating if I'm going to take in or out. I think I'll leave it in for a little bit. Well, this is a tale about two tales, literally. I'm in the grocery store one day in my corporate clothes, not dressed like this. Basic as hell. And I'm in there to get some stuff, you know, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and coffee. When I am in the refrigerator section, and I feel the presence of this guy. When I say I felt him everywhere. The smell of this man, I don't know what kind of pheromones he had, but they were working. But I was scared, because I wasn't sure, and I was like, I'm not gonna look up, I'm not gonna look at him, so I go to the freezer section. In the freezer section, I figure I'm gonna cool down and I can't smell it. I'll be okay. So I get my stuff and I go to the room, and I really remember, shit, coffee. That's what I came to the store for. So I go to the coffee out and I run smack dab into George. This man is honey-coated, chocolate glazed, dipped in sugar fineness. This man is all that. And he's standing there with 2 bags of coffee in his hand. And he looks dead at me and he says, which one did you choose? And I look at both of them and I said, the one on the right. If you're feeling adventurous, I choose that one. If you're feeling basic, the one on the left. And he says, how do you like your coffee? Without missing a beat, I said, bold and rich. He said, like your men? I said, yeah, it's like my men. He picked the one on the right, the adventurous one. And he asked me, he said, you want to go out on a date? And I was like, sure. I was flustered, of course. So on our first date, perfect gentleman, we go to a coffee club, and we're in a bookstore, and we're just talking, and we're talking for hours. And I'm realizing as we're talking that more than the coffee is hot. And I'm sitting there, and I'm just pent up with stuff. And I'm like, no, let me just keep cool. And then he asked me, he's like, do you feel comfortable enough with me? And I'm like, yeah. And he says, well, the next day I want to cook for you in my apartment. And I'm okay with it. Yeah. Well, I'm okay with it. Let me tell you why. See, that same apartment complex, my friend Kevin lives in that apartment complex. So he doesn't know that. George doesn't know. But I'm comfortable because I know if anything happens, I can call Kevin and he'll be right there. So I get to George's apartment. And I'm greeted with the scent of collard greens, shrimp, cornbread, and Palo Alto. I was already lost. Already. When I tell you I sat there and I was like, and he could cook, his food was delicious, and he looked delicious. Well, we moved into the living room and he had music playing and the lights turned low, and I was like, yeah, this is it. And he kisses me, and it's nice, and it's passionate. And he's like, let's go in the bedroom. I'm like, yes. I've been waiting on this since the grocery store, yes. So we get to the bedroom, open the door, his orange bedroom has candles in it, and I stop. I feel like I walk into an Adam and Eve's boutique. There are devices on the dresser. There's lube everywhere. There's straps protruding underneath the bed. And I stand there and I'm scared. I'm not a virgin, but I ain't never, This was new. And I'm standing there like, oh, what do I do? And he comes directly in front of me and says, would you like a tour? And he proceeds to tell me about every device, tells me about every lube, and I'm like, okay, I'm on. Well, I pick up some lube and I squirt it in my hands, and he's like, is it warm? And I was like, yeah. And he said, is it hotter than you? And I said, no, I'm hot. When I tell you we use every bit of that bed, not all the toys, but every bit of that bed. I mean, I've never done yoga at that point, but I got down like Swami himself in that bed, okay? The lubes, everything was working in that bedroom, and I was exhausted. So George and I started our, as I like to call them, daily lessons in the flesh, okay? So we're there. And on one of these Batiste days, I told you Kevin, my friend, my buddy, he lives in the same complex. So I go see Kevin before I go see George. Kevin and I are talking. Now Kevin is this big, 6'3", athletic build, slamming friend of mine. Like we are friends, we've been friends for a long time. And he looks at me and he's like, you look tired. I have been. So Kevin asked me, he's like, when's the last time you've been to the country? Because he knows I love the country. So we drive to the country in his pickup. We're in the back of his truck, drinking beers and eating and laughing, because it's my Kevin, my friend. And he reaches over us to get a beer, and he brushes up against me. Now, I'm not disturbed because this is Kevin, my friend who I love to death. And I tell him about everything except George. So, as he leans again to get a slice of pizza, he kisses me. Now I'm not upset, I'm not worried, I'm intrigued and thrown off because this is my friend, this is my buddy. Well, he kisses me and hugs me and my back instinctively arches because he's my safety, my cool. Well, I'm gonna tell you, we made the stress on that truck talk. I don't even know what constellations were up there, but we were looking at them, okay? And I didn't feel bad until the end, and I thought, this is Kevin, my buddy, my cool. Like, how do you come back from that? Like, that's your friend. What do you say? And Kevin, without missing a beat, said, we're still cool, we're still friends, it's all good. So we drive back to the apartment complex. Well, George is called this time. I take a shower over Kevin's, throw on some old sweats, and I go see Kevin. I mean George. I'm getting confused already. So, I go to George's apartment, and I am greeted with sex tape in one hand and wine in the other, and his full nakedness. When I go in the door, I start taking care of the job at hand, okay? And as I'm taking care of the job at hand, George takes my hair and puts it in a ponytail at the same time. That's a man you want to keep, okay? Multitasking. We finish. I am exhausted at this time. I drive back home, and on my way home, I'm starting to think, glad it's Saturday, I'm gonna have to get up the next day. I'm also glad that, I'm comfortable. I've released some stress at the same time. But as I get home, I start wondering, like, 2 men, one night, can I keep this up? Did I want to keep it up? And I thought about it, and I was like, oh my gosh. I mean, George was my lust, my passion, like the heat, like just sitting in his presence was the pheromones. Oof. But Kevin was my cool, my friend, my buddy, my balance. As I drove and I thought about it, I was life is about balance. And I'm gonna ride this pendulum till it falls off, okay? My name is Sandra Slade.
Who wants a Kevin? Who wants a George? Who wants to have a night like Sandra had? Stress-free. A little bit of information for you. We